Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sac Dugout Show. I'm your host Todd Sullivan and I'm here with my co-host Dominic Morris.
That's right, Todd. How you doing?
Good.
Today, with summer being around the corner, we'll be talking about summer collegiate baseball. As our team, the Sac M's, is starting up, we're here with a special guest, Steve Gill, General Manager of the Sac Legends and a longtime baseball friend in the Sacramento community. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Dominic. Todd, pleasure as well. Appreciate you guys inviting me on the show here. Talk about the Legends and talk about collegiate baseball in Sacramento.
So tell me, Steve, how did you getting started starting up your collegiate team here in Sacramento?
It's probably a little twofold. It's because my dad was a longtime coach, and I grew up around baseball all summer, all season long pretty much. But during my junior college career, I played on a summer collegiate team here in town, and that's when it was part of the Stam Musial League. Played for that team for 6 years, the Suncoast Sultans, and then that coach actually decided to go all collegiate. Of course, 6 years afterwards, I was not a collegiate player anymore, not eligible to play. So at that time in 2002, I decided to start my own team, and it was a mix of current collegiate players as well as college graduates like myself that still want to play at a high competitive level. And 12 years later, here we are, and completely collegiate at this point.
So for the fans that don't know, like what it takes to run a summer collegiate team, can you take us through it in terms of getting players, finding the field, what teams you play against? Can you take us through that process?
Absolutely. Here in Sacramento, there's a wealth of teams like yourself and myself and our teams. Plenty of opportunity here in California in terms of athletes, in terms of baseball. So, startup-wise, the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need uniforms. Uniforms cost money. There's two routes you can go. You can go player fees, which is the route I go, or you can choose to do a sponsorship and try to find some backing by a corporation, by a local business, year in and year out. Regardless, there's costs associated with it. Renting fields. Being from a Sacramento area, it's always tough to find fields. There's always baseball going on. We have great weather here. So you're always competing with the American Legions, the travel balls, the summer leagues, as well as ourselves, the collegiate league. Finding players isn't too tough because we have 5 junior colleges in the local area. We have a lot of athletes that have gone away after high school, after their junior college careers, to go play at 4-year institutions that want to come home and stay local and play in Sacramento. So that's not too much of a challenge. It's really weeding it down in terms of what your needs are and how many games you're going to play.
And I noticed that, like our team, we pick local players. Mm-hmm. I noticed you pick local players. Is there a specific reason why you choose players in the Sacramento metro area in terms of other teams like Cal Glory and different other teams that get guys from all the way across the other coast?
Yeah, I mean, first off, there's plenty of athletes that are local guys that want to play. The other challenge with going the other route is you have to provide host families for guys that are out of the area. And that's another added hassle that I don't want to go through, and then worrying about getting the right fit with a guy, with a host family, making sure that works out correct. So I choose to give the local product a place to play. There's guys that want to remain home during the summer, be with their families, play here at the local level. And then there's guys that go away and are away at school all year and want to come home and be with their families during the summer and play at that high level of competition.
Yeah, so finding the field, recruiting players, raising money, whether it's sponsorship or player fees, out of your 12 years of running collegiate club ball, what is your biggest obstacle you face year after year?
The biggest obstacle is probably the family at this point. Last year, for example, we played 75 games from mid-May to early August. So we're pretty much running a minor league schedule. Not many off days, not many travel days. If you want a lot of baseball, my club offers it. We're going to play a doubleheader pretty much every Saturday, Sunday, and we're going to play probably 4 games during the week. I joke about the family thing, but they're very supportive. That's the way I knew it. I grew up playing out at the park at Land Park during Legion ball with my dad out there coaching. My mom was scorekeeping. So it's kind of family affair for me, and I'm kind of returning that to my family, I guess, so to speak. But they're great. My wife's great. My kids are great. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, it takes a great wife to be able to have somebody like you do what you do.
Absolutely.
But the Sacramento Legends are one of the first franchises that took up when you want to call collegiate or semi-pro professional baseball. And throughout the years, you already touched on it a little bit, how there's so many teams right now going that avenue. How do you get kids to stay on the team? I know, it's collegiate, so they're really only technically there for a certain amount of time. And what do you do recruiting-wise, since there's so much competition out there to try to fulfill a 25-man roster?
It's a challenge. It's not just a challenge to find the players to fill the roster. It's a challenge to compete with everything else that there is to do during the summer, right? There's, the river, the amusement parks, the friends, the parties. There's a ton of other stuff that our youth today would rather be doing. And so it's a challenge every day to know that I'm going to have 9 quality guys that can play their positions and put that on the field, especially when I'm trying to play other top caliber like the California Glory, who have guys that are D1 athletes that come here and stay with the host family. That's always a challenge. In terms of the recruitment process, what I do is I basically try to build out a depth chart. As guys show interest, as I go recruit guys, nothing's given and guaranteed until day one when we start working out that they're going to play with my team. You have guys that want to go play with another team because they find out their buddy might be playing on Dominic's team. And, I have no hard feelings. My thing is as long as the guys are playing that want to play, I'm all for it. I'm trying to give an opportunity for these kids to get better during the off season, and I know the M's are doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's what we strive for. The Sacramento M's coming up, we get our first full season with the PWBL. So we're experienced now a lot of the things that you're doing, trying to schedule teams, trying to lock in players, trying to get our home field. It's something that is commended of you for doing it as long as you had, and especially learning from your dad. I bet you that was pretty unique, huh?
Correct, definitely. And you'll find, this year in the PWBL with the traveling, that's going to be a challenge too. Trying to get the guys. It's real easy to get guys to play here in town, local games. You figure it out real quick when you got to drive 2.5 hours, down to San Jose, or 2 hours to the Bay Area, or we're both going to Southern Oregon this year to Medford to play the Slayers. So it'll be interesting to see the true commitment level from these guys, and that's the challenge of running a team like this, is to make sure that you can go up to play those teams in Oregon, in the Bay Area, and have a quality competitive team to put on the field.
Oh yeah, I know. Last year was our first year at it in the collegiate realm, and we kind of faced a little bit of those obstacles. Having road games during the week, and not having a star pitcher out for some good games. So, we've been figuring out some of the ins and outs of how to make this thing work. And I want to ask you, out of all the necessities that it takes to run a collegiate club, what would you say? If you want to get that top player, what would you say is the key essential? Is it a good home field? Is it different players that's on the team? Is it uniforms? Like, what is that one thing that the player that you want to have, have?
Well, that's the $1 million question, Dominic, and the answer to that is yes. Yes, 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 yes. The problem is it's trying to identify which top athlete is looking for that prestigious field to play on, which top athlete is looking for the coolest, snazziest jersey to wear, which top athlete is looking for the cool road trip, the overnight trip to, 5 years ago, we went to San Diego, on a 3-4 day trip. That's pretty enticing to some guys. Other guys look at it realistically and go, there's costs associated with that as well, with the hotel, with the travel fees. So there is no crystal ball, there is no magic solution that you can put, the top athletes and recruit them all, because they all want a different thing today. That's the challenge that we get to deal with day in and day out.
Yeah, that was one thing we faced when we were doing a lot of travel. We started off with about 20 guys on our team, and due to injury, and like you were saying, traveling, it really limited us down. We had a solid squad of about 12, about 2/3 of the way through the season. And even then, going to Santa Cruz, hey, it's the ocean, everybody's in, everybody wants to go. But it tends to be some of those rural out of the way type places where we're, hey, it's a double header. We can't just go with 9. We got to take several guys. So how do you keep that morale going to make sure they're all there on every road trip?
It's been a learning curve. It's been a process for me. I finally got to the point. I felt last year was probably my best group of guys in terms of their dedication, in terms of their loyalty, in terms of, I didn't have to send out the text the night before and just validate you're going to be there. It's part of a maturation process for these youth and collegiate athletes as well, being able to take responsibility and accountability. I'm fine if you have other things. There's guys that I have on my team that have jobs. There's guys that are here doing summer school, and I'm trying to work around them. My thing is just be a man about it, be responsible enough to let me know. It's it's a real life situation, right? When you get to work, you can't just not show up, right? There's consequences. Same thing with my team. I try to instill, a real life value into my baseball program so that I don't have those situations.
So since you guys are playing 70-plus games, how would you say on your roster, like let's take, one of the most important things for a team like this is having a lot of pitchers, starting pitchers, relief, closers, it doesn't matter, just
Correct.
somebody that can throw strikes and throw innings. On your rosters, how many pitchers would you say you keep throughout the year?
We'll probably have 15 pitchers, 12 to 15 easily. So you're looking at almost half of the roster is going to be pitchers just because of the type of schedule we play.
Yep.
And when you talk about injuries, you're going to have pitchers that their arms are sore or tender today. You have to have, 2 or 3 guys on any given day that are ready to jump in and be able to help out. And you have guys that are starters that are going to go longer into a game, and then they're going to be burned up for 4 days and not be eligible to be used anyways. You're going to have a reliever type that can throw 1-2 innings today, come back, throw 1-2 tomorrow, come back, throw 1-2 the next day. So it's finding that right chemistry, that right makeup too within the pitchers. It's not just getting 12 to 15 pitchers and rolling the dice, because 12 to 15 starters doesn't work, potentially. So, and then I try to make it fair and work in the innings. Make sure that everyone that is on my team is going to get the work that they need. They're going to get the innings, they're going to get the opportunity. It's not a the true college ball where you just walk the bases loaded and I'm yanking you out of the game. You're going to have to get out there and sweat and work yourself into a jam and work yourself out of a jam. Absolutely, Todd. Absolutely.
So when we're talking about this, what is your goal season in and season out? I know compete in the Sacramento League.
Sacramento Premier Baseball League.
League, but it's obviously not about wins or losses.
Correct.
What is your goal when you have a 2-year player in or even a 4-year player in? Is it growth, or tell us what's your individual goal for players and just for your program?
My goal for my players is to give them an opportunity. So for a position player, it means as many at-bats as possible throughout the course of the summer. There's going to be slumps, there's going to be hot streaks, and it's a matter of them being able to recognize that and being able to play through it hot or cold. Same thing with pitchers. It's a matter of them getting the innings and getting the work in. You throw a couple balls, that's okay. We got to come back and throw strikes. Playing in the Sacramento Premier Baseball League, we have the opportunity where we do have a structured postseason. So we'll have a state playoffs, we'll have a Western Regional, and we have the opportunity to go to a World Series. I've been fortunate enough to go to the World Series twice. I was able to go with my previous team, the Sultans, in 1999, and I had an opportunity to take my own club in 2006 when it was in Texas. And those are experiences that players hold on to for a lifetime. There's a lot of guys that'll play college ball, maybe even professionally, and never be part of a winning team or be part of a team that was able to do something postseason wise. So, I coach those games a little bit differently. There's a very few league games in terms of the Sacramento Premier Baseball League. We're just a 4-team league here in Sacramento. We get to play local competition during the week, and then we get to travel and add the games towards the weekend and do the road trip stuff. But those games I coach for the wins because there is something associated with it, and the guys want that as well. But outside of that, it's the opportunity for everyone to improve their skills.
It's nice to know that everybody knows it's an opportunity to hone in, work on their skills, work on the chemistry, and keep things developing for their career, as long as their baseball career can last. So it's really commendable that you've been doing this for as long as you have, and we really appreciate you being here today with us on the show. And just to let everybody know, if in order to see any of our broadcasts and tonight's show, you can go to morrisleague.com. We have a link that you can click and instantly watch the show. Or it's also here at Access Sacramento every Thursday night at 8:30.
Yeah, for Todd Sullivan, for our wonderful camera crew, and for our director, Dante Morris, and our guest, Steve Gill, I'd like to thank y'all. It's another episode of Sac Dugout. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.